guys, welcome back to B2B with Ross and Bella. I'm Bella.
I'm Ross.
And boy, do we have a good one in store for you today. Today we're going B2B with none other than Azzecca. She is a rising force in the music scene, reeling in tens of millions of streams on her singles. She is literally that bitch, and I'm so excited to sit down with you today. So welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Let's get into it. It's currently Art Basel. Craziest week of the year in Miami. You went B2B with Max Styler at John Summit's showcase for experts only, and it was fucking incredible.
It was so much fun.
You guys have something special. Like, you and Max do the damn thing. When you DJ together, like, it's actually insane.
Yeah, I feel like Max and I, first of all, just really like each other as people, and that makes it really easy to play with him. We have, like, very, very different DJ styles and production styles, but we both, like, one, really respect each other's sound, and we're happy to like play off of each other in a way that like I think might be a bit more rare. There's no like competitiveness between us when we're DJing. We're not trying to like one up each other in any way. It's literally like, let's make this a party. It's a team effort, and it's so much fun to play with him.
Yeah. When I logged onto Twitter today, like, everything was just how incredible that set was, and it was definitely like the highlight of the night in my opinion. But I feel like you guys just mesh really, really, really well.
Yeah, definitely. I love playing with Max. Yeah, it's just fun up there for me. It's like sometimes DJing feels like work, and sometimes DJing feels like fun.
Yeah.
And when I get to play with Max, it just feels like fun.
I mean, on the topic of back-to-backs, here on the B2B podcast, we like to learn a little bit. When you go back-to-back with someone, are you like talking to them beforehand and sort of like game planning and like coming in knowing what you're going to do? Or are you just showing up to the venue and sort of going with the flow?
So it's always different. Some people totally like to just go off the cuff. Some people like to chat things out a bit more. Max and I actually did like a Zoom call or like a FaceTime call on Tuesday night when we were both at home sort of like packing and stuff. We had both sent each other like a big folder of just shit we like right now, stuff we're playing out, stuff like we're really vibing to, our upcoming songs that we need to make sure to play. And we just kind of chatted it through, and we were like, cool, like, you want to make sure that like the general vibe is there, because we were also playing before Damien, and Damien typically plays a very different style to what we would typically play. So we were like, we have to make sure to like bring the set back down to be respectful to Damien and to do a good pass off for him. So we sort of like chatted it through, which is nice. Like, you know, I've done like totally off the cuff back-to-backs, and they can go really well or they can go pretty bad. Like, back-to-backs can be not great.
Have you had like a bad experience along those lines?
I haven't had like a bad experience, but I've definitely had challenging back-to-backs where your music style or like what they're playing is just like very different from what you had in mind, and you're like kind of spend most of your set stressing out about like searching for a song that'll sound good with this song. You know what I mean? Whereas like with Max, we kind of already just like had an idea of what each of us wanted to play, so you just went into it with just a better, calmer state. I kind of already knew like I have these tracks and they'll all sound really sick with his tracks. So
yeah, and I think that that's an important part of like a good B2B. You shouldn't be able to tell what DJ is playing what song. And we've seen some shows where the DJs are just so different style-wise that you can literally be like, oh, that's a so-and-so song, that's another, like, and it doesn't necessarily flow. And I feel like when you're going back-to-back with someone that you do really mesh with, it just creates like a really good flow, and you don't have you're not standing out next to the person.
Yeah, it's like there's no like, and that kind of goes back to like like sometimes back-to-backs can feel almost like competitive, or like I'm gonna play this banger and
like
it doesn't at all flow out of the song you want to play, but I'm gonna, you know what I mean? And I feel like with Max and I, neither of us have like a particularly big ego, so we're just sort of like, we want to make sure that people leave saying like that was sick and the whole thing was fun, and like we both have that attitude, so it made it really easy.
Yeah, and I think people definitely left saying that was sick. Like, seriously, on Twitter, the reaction was great.
Have you ever had an instance where, like, you're going back-to-back with someone and they just play tracks that you absolutely hate or, like, they fuck up?
Oh, I mean, yeah, and I've also been the one to fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes with back-to-back, someone will be playing a song that you don't know, and, like, okay, one thing that's amazing about Max is all of the music he makes, and even the edits he makes to DJ out, he makes intro, outro, like, situations really, really easy. So, like, you can pretty much mix anything, and it won't be a disaster.
Right.
Whereas I've played before with people who play songs that what you think is in the outro all of a sudden is skipping beats, or like some crazy vocal comes back in and you're like in the mix and you're like panicking. I try not to play that many songs that way in general, but
Right.
like if I do and I'm playing with someone, I always turn to them and say like, hey, just so you know, this gets a bit weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like give someone the heads
Yeah,
up.
like-
It's like you don't want to leave someone just panicking in the moment. And yeah, and then you have like a
Conjuring something up.
and then like, there's a train wreck and you're standing there like, oops.
Do you have like a favorite artist that you like to go B2B with?
Honestly, I love playing with my husband, Kai. We love playing together because, like, we have very different styles, same with me and Max, but it's fun because we, like, trust each other so much that we will really, like, if I'm like, cool, I'm about to play a really weird ravey track, and then he'll have something in his treasure box that
Yeah.
somehow just sounds really good with it.
He knows how to find literally anything that works.
He's like such an amazing DJ,
Yeah.
and he has such a good ear, so it's just really fun to play with him.
In background, right, for the listeners who may not know, Allie's married to Kai, a member of Gorgon City, and I feel like you two are literally maybe some of the only people on the planet who get to go back to back with their husband or with their wife at like cool venues, cool stages and stuff.
Yeah.
What does that feel like when you're literally up there with your husband?
It's super fun. I mean, I like learned to DJ playing with him in my kitchen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This whole thing for me started with like having decks on our kitchen
It's
counter.
literally your baby.
Yeah, and like just like doing it like we were like cooking dinner, taking turns mixing in songs, literally,
so
because
cool.
the decks were like on our kitchen island, and it just was like years and years of that. And then like me sort of then getting more comfortable, like I was playing off his USB for a long time, and then I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I think I like different music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting my own USB
Finding
and then
out.
figuring out my own lane with music, and it all was sort of like born from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's sick. It's fun. And people would like get super excited about it when we play together. There are definitely some moments though, because like if I was playing with Max, for example, and Max was like loading up a track that I like don't really fuck with, I'll just let it ride.
Right.
But if Kai loads up a track I don't fuck with, I'm like, no.
Give him a little spank on the butt.
I literally be like, don't play that. And he'll look at me and be like,
Next.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, don't play that. So like it gets a bit spicy that way, but it's just all for fun.
I don't think
Yeah.
we've made it to one of your B2Bs together, have we?
No, I've never seen you guys play together.
Yeah,
we
we
It's
really,
crazy.
yeah, we don't do it that often. We did it at Burning Man because Kai and I went to Burning Man together. Matt didn't go to Burning Man, and for some reason we agreed to play way too many sets at
Yeah.
Burning Man. We were like biking all over the playa all night. It was insane. We played like 6 back-to-backs in one day.
It's crazy.
And that was super fun. It was like some of the parties we played to like 30 people, some of the parties we played to hundreds of people, and it was like just a totally different vibe all day. And then we did one in San Francisco back to back at Public Works, which was really fun.
That one looks special.
It was so fun. It was a great night. But you know, we don't get to do it that often because Kai has a partner, you know, and they DJ together. So 3 a back to back to back is, you know, sometimes it's just a lot. 3 cooks in the kitchen is
Yeah.
a lot.
Right.
So
You need to stroll in more and more CDJs.
yeah,
and shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a rare thing, and I think it's cool to keep it rare.
So you touched on Burning Man. When you're at Burning Man and you have sets all over the playa and stuff, you don't have like an artist liaison. Are you sort of on your own? Like,
Oh my God.
how do you find the next stage that you need to go to? Like, there's not signs posted.
No, it's chaos. We were like playing one party with our friend Bix, who runs this club in Santa Barbara called EOS. We played at his party at Burning Man, and it was like, I don't know, somewhere way like the Burning Man is like shaped like a crescent, and like our campsite was on one end of the playa, and his camp was on the like complete opposite end of the playa, and we like biked there, and then we ended up getting like a little bit silly when we were at the party and we kind of lost track of time, and all of a sudden we're like, shit, we have another thing we have to be at, we have to go, and we felt like we couldn't miss one because people were relying on us.
Right.
And we didn't want to miss it. So our friend Bix has this like playa car, but it's like a boat.
Sick.
And he's like, cool, yeah, just jump in. And it has like this huge disco ball crane on top of it. He's like, just jump in the whip, and like drove us across the playa in
Burning
this boat
Man
thing.
literally seems like a fever dream. Like
It
nothing
is.
makes sense there, but yet everything makes sense.
It's seriously such a wild place.
Do you think you'll go back soon?
You know, I loved Burning Man, and I like would go back. I would love to go back. The thing is, going to Burning Man is it's not just buy a ticket and go thing.
Right.
It's like we were lucky because
you have to prepare.
You have to prepare big time. And we were lucky because one of the camps we played at is this guy. He's a promoter in San Francisco. And he booked us, and basically like our fee, because you don't get paid to play at Burning Man.
You don't get paid at all
You don't
for
get
any
paid.
sets?
No, our fee, because we played at his camp, he does one of like the big playa parties.
Hooks you up or something.
He gets your Burning Man ticket and then
Nice.
gives you an RV to stay in. So for us, it literally was just turn up.
Okay.
But normally, like to go to Burning Man as like a punter, you have to like participate in a camp. Everyone has like duties. You have to like
Right.
build, break down. You have to do dinner duties, dishes duties, like all
Yeah.
of this stuff. And like, I think I would be cool with it, but I can imagine if someone was like, Kai, tonight you're on dish duty.
He's like,
He'd
no,
be
I'm
like,
not.
he'd be like tripping ass somewhere in the playa, like a law. You know what
He's
I
like,
mean?
what is dish?
So I mean, it's a lot. It's a big thing to do Burning Man.
I
And
think
then-
I would struggle with that, like having to do chores when I'm fucked up trying to rave.
Yeah.
Like, so how did you actually meet Kai? Like, we want to hear the story.
Okay, so Kai and I actually first started communicating with each other on Twitter. And it was just like years ago. I would just like tweet random things saying like, oh, this vocalist on this Gorgon City song I'm obsessed with. I want to know who this is or whatever. And then like Gorgon City would respond to me and be like, oh, it's actually this person. And then I'd tweet something like, I don't know. I think they started because at this point I
Yeah.
knew nothing about Gorgon City other than I liked their music. I don't think I even knew it was two people. I didn't know anything about them. And they like started following me back on Twitter. And then for a long time, it was just sort of friendly bants on Twitter, just about like random things. I mean, just whatever the fuck I post on Twitter.
Right.
And
We'll get to that.
and so after a while, they messaged me on Twitter and they were just like, hey, we're going to be in Chicago playing at this festival. Like, you seem really cool. Would love to meet you if you're there. I was already going to this festival. It was a festival I went to like all the time. in
Mamby?
Chicago. Mamby on the beach. Yeah, like the
Unreal.
best
Do
festival.
they still have Mamby?
No, it's done
That's
now.
sad.
I think that was the last year they did it. And I was already going, and so I was like, yeah, cool. And his message was like, Kai.
Dash guy.
Dash Kai. So I like
Were you like pumped at that? Were you like, oh my God?
Well, I like Googled like Gorgon City Kai, and like the photo came up of him, and I was like, oh, he's cute.
He looks like Eminem. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well, like the photos that came up, the photos that I saw were like really.
No, Kai looked so different.
He looked so different. Like, well, yeah, but they were like really old photos of him, and he had like this flat bill hat and a flannel shirt, and I was like, he's cute. So I was at Mamby with some of my friends, and we were like met him in the crowd, and we just like hung out in the crowd, hung out with me and my friends, and like we had been communicating for like months and months before that, like nothing even like flirty, just like chatting.
Yeah.
And we just like really hit it off at Mamby, and we just had like such a fun day together. And from that point on, it was just sort of, I mean, he lived in England, I lived in Chicago, and we just kept talking and I don't know, we just decided like, hey, we kind of like each other.
Yeah.
And then that was sort of it.
So girls, take notes. Take your shots on Twitter, Instagram.
Send that
you never
DM.
know.
You think it's the thirst traps, but really it's the out of pocket Twitter takes.
Yeah.
Ah, that's amazing.
So I just sort of getting back to you, Allie. There's one thing that I find interesting and honestly like bewildering to think about, and I can't picture you in this scene. So you went to a huge like hoorah SEC football school, University of Tennessee.
I did.
Were you a big like sorority girl back
No.
then?
Absolutely not.
No.
That's
No,
not you at
no.
all.
Oh my God. Could you imagine me
No.
in a sorority?
I
No.
can't. Oh, unless you were the pledge master. I can see that.
Yeah, unless I could be the one
Stand up
bullying
along
everyone.
the
So
wall,
were you
bitches.
going to like the big football games and like having a good time, or was that just like not for you really?
Yeah, I like totally participated in the like SEC hurrah
Yeah.
shit. You know,
Yeah.
like I feel like because I wasn't from the South and I sort of like have very, very different views from a lot of people that live in the South. And
Oh, yeah.
and I have a very
Right.
different way of just
Living.
living
Being.
and thinking about life. I found it a little bit more difficult to like relate to people in college. I had like a really amazing group of friends, but I actually found myself hanging out with a pretty random, like Yeah, I don't know. It was
like
just
a Motley Crue.
kind of. Yeah.
Are you still close with them? Like your friends
I
from
have
college?
some friends from college. I literally was just with one of my friends from college. I played a gig in Nashville recently, and she came. It was like a week before her wedding, and she and her fiance came.
What do they call the people that are
GDI.
the GDIs, the
GDI
goddamn
as a GDI.
independents?
It was so funny. Everyone at Tennessee called me Chicago. like everyone was just like, oh, it's Chicago. Like, because I was just like that dickhead, big mouth. Like,
What?
you guys are fucking annoying
Wait,
person.
would that girl attending University of Tennessee ever imagine or think in your wildest dream that you would end up being a full-time touring DJ and producer?
No.
Was that ever in the cards?
No. When I was in school, I wanted to be a psychologist.
But
But
was
you
like,
have
no.
always liked house music, right? Like you
Yeah.
always were going to festivals and stuff like from a younger age.
Yeah. I've always been into dance music, and even at Tennessee, I would like randomly like Cherub would be playing at some like shithole bar, and I'd be like, guys, we have to go see Cherub. You know what I mean? Like I was always the one. There was like not very much dance music happening in
Right.
Tennessee, but I was always the one being like, come on, can we please not listen to country music tonight?
What made you choose that school?
Oh God, it was. So I wanted to get out of my hometown. I just did. I wanted to move away.
And what is your hometown, just in case anyone doesn't know?
I'm from Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah,
which
the
is
Rockford. They have a hockey team. The Rockford
Ice Hogs.
The Ice Hogs.
The
The
Ice
Ice Hogs
Hogs.
is a crazy name.
Ice Hogs.
They couldn't come up with anything.
My,
I
like-
that's a good nickname. I want to be an Ice Hog.
You are an Ice Hog.
Whee!
Oh my God. How do you even know that?
I was a big hockey player growing up. I like really wanted to play professionally. I wanted to potentially go to like college for it. And with
Wow.
hockey, it's interesting. Like you don't just go straight to college. You have to take 4 years and play juniors.
Yeah, because the Ice Hogs is a Blackhawks junior
Right.
team.
It's a AHL team, I think. And so I just gave up on the dream, which was really sad. And
No, it's for the best.
became
Well, now
a
look at what
full-time-
you're
Most
doing.
people don't end up going pro.
Yeah. Also, like, just
Yeah.
dangerous. Like,
Dangerous.
You know?
Dangerous.
And,
I broke
and
my-
you can't do it that long.
I broke
Like,
my
Ross
spine.
fractured his spine.
Yeah, if it broke severely, I would be paralyzed. If
Okay.
C7 and T1, I'd be a quadriplegic.
Okay, well, good thing you're not a quadriplegic. And
I
good thing
know.
you stopped playing hockey.
I know.
For real.
Podcasting safer.
Podcasting is safer.
It is. It is much safer. No danger. Okay, so you are. I feel like you're always evolving. Like your look is evolving, your sound. You've been so many things, and even just from the time we've known you, like you've really had this incredible success and this incredible journey. So I'm just, I guess, like with these different eras of your life, are they intentional? Like you're like, I'm making a change, like I'm going in a different direction, or does everything just kind of flow into another period of time for you?
There's definitely no like moment or like intentional switch. I feel like my dad has always even been like, you just like change with the wind. Like I just sort of like my tastes change,
Yeah.
things I like change. I don't know. I just sort of like I'm open to experiencing things and like thinking about things differently. And I just feel like I cling on to new things really often, and I sort of like lock into it, and I'm like, cool, now I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah,
Right.
like
And then-
your hair maybe. You just
Yeah,
made the
yeah.
switch to red,
I've
which
always-
looks phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you. But
does.
this is not the first time I've had red hair. Like I've been coloring my hair since I was like a kid.
No,
Like,
literally,
I've
even
done
since I know you've
everything.
been blonde, brunette, like
Blonde?
dark black,
Blonde?
and
I don't remember blonde.
I used to be platinum blonde.
Really?
Like
I never remember you. I didn't meet you when you were platinum, but
Yeah, I
I remember
don't
you
think-
having like light hair.
I had like platinum blonde hair for a
That's
while.
insane.
I feel like red is you and your look now. Like it's Azzecca. It's so like distinguishable. Have you felt like a change? Do you feel like red is almost like your thing now?
I do. I
Yeah.
definitely like can't imagine not having red hair. I just feel like when I had red hair when I was younger, I loved it. And I always wanted to go back to having red hair, but the process of trying to go from having red hair to any other color hair is a nightmare, especially if you want to
Yeah.
lighten your hair again. So I just like didn't do it, and then Dua Lipa dyed her hair red.
you're queen.
And I was like, oh man, that color. And I just like was like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Well, truly, not a lot of people I think can pull off this hair, and it suits you like unbelievably well. But so okay, with the hair, I feel like it is also a branding move because now obviously like you're coming up more, people are recognizing you, but now they're also associating you with the red hair, which makes you stand out more. Like, do you feel like you get recognized more with the
Oh
red
my
hair?
God. Yes. And like Sometimes I feel like I have I'm like a target because of my hair. It
stands out.
It is, and I didn't really think about that when I colored my hair, because I feel like even since I colored my hair, my like project, my platform has like grown so much that like more people just know who I am. But when I walk around, even like in Chicago, sometimes I'm like at Whole Foods, haggard, like, you know, like just looking absolutely trash.
Yeah.
And someone will come up to me and be like, "Are you Azzecca?" And I'm like, "Fuck, it's my hair."
Is that like a pinch me moment for you?
It is. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's like, always
how crazy is that? I felt like it was a pinch me moment for me to see you. We were like walking through ARC, the amount of people that were just literally like, Azzecca. I'm like, this bitch is fucking famous. I love when people come up to you and ask for pictures. It's so cool.
It is so sweet. I mean, it's such a sweet thing. And yeah, it feels really nice to know that people like the things people say to me, like it makes me feel connected to my fans, which 100%. Is amazing. With that said, like there are definitely times where I'm like a bit overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Like ARC was overwhelming for me. And I think because I live in Chicago, everyone knows I live in Chicago.
We're also walking around with Kai. Like,
it's me and Kai. And when you see, like, we've had people, Kai and I were at Glastonbury a couple of years ago, and these like guys come up to us in the crowd. They're like staring at us, and they come up to us and they were like, are you Gorgon City? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I thought so. I thought it might be you. And then I saw her, and then I knew it was you. And I'm like, us together is just like the minute people see us, they know. But
so the red hair, obviously, so your image right now. Remember when we were at ARC and somebody posted a picture of just a random girl with red hair? And they're like, I just saw Azzecca in the crowd, and it was like just a random biatch.
Dude, the best part about that is the girl went with it. She's like, hello, my fans. It's like, who are you?
I met Azzecca. I love you, queen. And it was on Twitter, and I literally responded. I was like, babe, that is actually not.
But go off.
But I literally said, but go off, queen.
That's so fucking funny. I love that.
That was amazing.
So another one of the eras you were in was being an interior designer, which is very cool. I feel like you are just a naturally creative person, like in one way or another, with your fashion
shows
sense.
In your apartment.
Your appearance. Your apartment is like out of a fucking magazine. I'm obsessed with everything. But what was that like? How did you get into interior design from wanting to be a psychologist?
Yeah. So I graduated from college. Literally without even thinking or applying for jobs. I like had this friend who lived in Chicago who was like a live-in nanny for this like huge real estate mogul in Chicago. And she just like reached out to me and was like, hey, my boss is looking for like a marketing director for her job. And she asked me if I knew anyone. For some reason, like you came to mind. Will you come interview with her? And I literally graduated from college like 3 days prior. And I was like, yeah, sure, I want to move to Chicago. I literally went and met this woman for lunch, and she was like, can you start tomorrow? Can you move into the apartment above my house and start this job tomorrow?
That's crazy.
And I was like, yeah, sure. Moved to Chicago. Started this job working in luxury real estate, like doing marketing for them. And I was really involved with like staging, photography, all of this, that whole aspect of like luxury real estate. And from that, just realized how much I love interior design and interior decorating. And I just, you know, as the years went by in that job, I just got more and more into it. And then I decided I wanted to quit that job because I had just outgrown it. It wasn't like I wasn't fulfilled anymore in that job. And I got my interior decorating license, and I was like, cool.
You need to be licensed for that?
Yeah. To be an actual interior designer, you have to go to architecture school, which is crazy.
That's silly, stupid, stinky.
Yeah, to be silly, stupid, stinky. To be an interior decorator, you have to take a class, pass a test, like get licensed.
That's crazy.
People who go to interior design or architecture school end up working in more build out design stuff. Like an interior designer helps with like remodeling a home. So like you can start your own business, you can work for an architecture firm, but to be an interior decorator, that's sort of like you can get a job with a company, or you can like
work with some
start your own business. Yeah, you like build a rapport with people who trust your taste in decorating. So that's what I wanted to do, and that was like I was all for it. Starting my own interior decorating business, like was starting to pick up clients, and then COVID happened.
Yeah,
and then DJing happened.
And then DJing happened. I always say that like as horrible as COVID was, and I wish it never happened, and like whatever. Some of the like best changes in my life occurred because it was a forced reassessment of my life and my relationships and like what I wanted moving forward. And like it was horrible and I thought my life was ending. But
so did you and Kai get married during COVID?
Technically, yes. We got engaged. Kai was actually planning on proposing to me. We had this trip planned to South Africa. And we were staying on this like game reserve.
Sweet.
Oh,
and he had like this whole proposal planned and I knew nothing about it. And he had the ring and then COVID happened and the whole trip got canceled. So during COVID, he, I guess, just didn't know when he was going to do it. And he proposed to me during COVID.
Oh, with a mask on and a COVID test?
No, it was like I was in the worst mood, by the way, this day. I was like in such a pissy mood. And he was like, let's go have lunch by the lake. And I was like, I don't want to. And he's like, come on, please. Like, let's go do like something really romantic. And we're going to he was like, let's break. Because you weren't allowed on the lake in Chicago during COVID.
Yeah, you weren't allowed on the beaches in Florida.
And he was like, let's break through this. Because there was this one spot on the lake that I used to go read at every like sunrise before work. And it was like a really special place for me. Like went through a bunch of phases in life at this specific spot. And he was like, let's go to that spot you love. Like, let's just have a good day. Like, I'll make us lunch. And I was like, fine. And so then we went and I was in a pissy mood and I was not being nice. And then we get there and we like go through this barrier and I'm like, why are we doing this? We're going to get in trouble. And we get there and he like starts saying all of this like really, really like sweet stuff to me. Like, I know this spot means a lot to you and I want it to mean a lot to me. And I'm literally what is your problem? I was like, why are you being this way right now? I had
Poor guy.
I literally had no idea he was proposing to me. I thought he was just, I don't know. He was being he was just being so sweet. And I was like, it's like, I don't know what's going on right now. And then as he kept talking, I was like, holy shit, is he proposing to me right now? And then when he got down on one knee, I was like, it was the biggest shock of my life. I had no idea he was planning on proposing to me.
Did he have a secret photographer there or anything?
No,
none of
that.
I
Nothing.
Like I haven't seen any content from it.
It was literally because there was no one around.
Did you cry?
Yeah, we both cried. It was sweet. It was really sweet. And it was just like, so I feel like I'm such a control freak that I kind of have control of everything that happens in my life. And it was such a surprise. And it was so nice that it was just us. And it was amazing.
It would have been funny if you were being like such a bad unhappy girl that he just changed his mind. He was like,
I'm actually not gonna.
I'm honestly shocked he didn't because I was like,
what am I doing?
I was so crabby this day. I was just like having
me
one
today.
I was probably like PMSing and I was just like in a piss ass mood and I didn't want to do anything.
Outrageous.
Actually, I want to ask you something because obviously Mary and Kai, like, you are married to one of the biggest DJs in the world. Like, he is so incredibly talented, obviously can teach you so much. Like, how much do you credit Kai in your career and in your journey?
I mean, I give him like so much credit. If it wasn't for Kai, first of all, like pushing me to DJ. Like, so I started that party Dirty Disco in Chicago, right? And I was just opening my party, like, as my like DJ dreams at that point were just, I want to throw a really cool party in Chicago that gets women like involved and I'm just gonna play the door set, like, you know, like that's all I want. And Kai was the one who was like, you actually like have something. And like, you know, he wasn't just blowing smoke up my ass. He was like, you have like a style, you have like taste, you should try and do this more. And we had been working on making music together for years at this point. Like 2 albums ago, I was like sitting with him every day because it was COVID. Our studio was in our house and I'm just sitting with him, learning Ableton with him, like giving him my advice on his album, playing guitar licks in some of his songs. Like, I was giving my input on everything he was doing and learning on the way, you know? And he was like, you should really try and do this yourself. Like, I can't, the ideas you have are great, but they don't work for Gorgon City. Right. So like, why don't you try and make some songs on your own? And it started just like that. Like, I was just making like edits of shit and just like making whatever. And I made this edit of that Cassie track, that me and you Cassie track. And he was like, you should really try and get this signed somewhere. Because I made it just to play at Dirty Disco. I was like, I just want my own song to play. I made an edit of
Like the first one?
Yeah, I made an edit of a Kylie Minogue track, and I made an edit of Cassie, Me and You, just for me to play, to have my own music to play out. And he was like, these are really good. Like, you should see if you can release these and see like if this can be something for you. And I didn't know if I wanted to be a performing DJ producer. Like, I just wasn't sure if that was the path I wanted to take. But then we were actually like out somewhere. We were in Tulum at Zamna, and he played my Cassie edit in front of Diplo. And then Diplo was like, what is this?
Wow.
And then Kai was like, you should send this.
And that one was the one that got signed to Higher Ground.
Got signed to Higher Ground. Sam Skiara, the A&R from Higher Ground, was like, we want to sign this.
Wow.
And then he was like, do you have any other songs? And I had also made Other Side, which I sent to Adam 10 to try and get him to sign to McAfee, and he said no.
Other Side, like,
has
is
like
doing
12
numbers.
million
No, it's crazy how big it is.
Do you think, is there anything, obviously it's a special track, do you think there's anything that like sets that apart maybe from your other songs? Like, it's done so well, and the numbers it has is done so well. Why do you think that is?
It's just a
hits?
weird song. Like, I made that song before I had even thought about how to get music signed, what labels want, like any like pressures that you feel, like what trends are, what people want you to be making. I just made that song because I loved Adam 10, and I wanted to make this like twangy, weird, groovy song based on the stuff that Adam was playing. And I made it, and it resonated with people, I think, because it doesn't sound like anything else.
An amazing song.
You said like how supportive Kai was and how he sort of pushed you to get into it. You both play that sort of role in uplifting and sort of helping other people. Like, you two were the first people we ever told our idea about to have the B2B podcast.
Yeah.
And if you maybe had reacted like, no, like that's like weird or cringe, like maybe we wouldn't have ever done it. But you guys, as soon as we mentioned it, we're like, you need to do that. Like, there's an opportunity, there's a space to do it. And I just feel like both of you do such a good job at helping others sort of do things and their own thing. It's really cool.
No, it's true. You guys are very supportive.
It's just cool to push people to like follow their dreams. You know what I mean? Like, life's too short to just be like stagnant or like not do what makes you happy. So go for it.
Speaking of doing things, you're working on a motherfucking album, dude.
I am.
What
How
can you tell us
crazy.
about that?
I can tell you it's a lot. It is, so I've just started doing like vocalist sessions, trying to get these first demos done to send to the label. It is really overwhelming because I have been so busy this year. So my touring schedule this year has been so crazy, and I still I will admit, I am slow to make music. I haven't been making music for 10 years.
Yeah.
So making one song takes a long time for me. I'm not cranky. I'm not a production machine cranking out songs. So
a rhythm machine.
A rhythm machine. But like, seriously, like someone like Max who makes like 10 songs a week. I don't.
Yeah.
So I've been really, really busy with touring, and I haven't been able to spend as much time because I also need to be making singles to release outside of this album project. So I've just really started diving into working on the album, and I have some really, really amazing vocals that I've finally gotten, and I have an idea of what I want the album to sound like.
Right.
And so now after this, I have another week and a half of touring, and then I'm off pretty much until March. And I'm going to lock myself in the studio and get these album demos done and start moving forward with it.
When you have that idea that you're going to release an album, that you want to build one, are you just trying to make really good tracks and produce good tracks, or do they have to follow the same theme?
Yeah,
are you trying to tell a story
take them on a
throughout
journey?
the album?
Yeah, the goal for an album is for sure to take you on a journey. I think that
maybe a little extraterrestrial journey?
100%. So there is going to be a theme of my album, and it's going to be very otherworldly.
Yeah.
I've really been diving into these cosmic, acidy, proggy sounds that I love. So you can expect a lot of that sort of stuff. I wrote a song with this amazing vocalist in LA, and it's a song that kind of ties. You don't really know if she's talking about being on drugs or being in space.
Sick.
And it's the lyrics are really, really cool, and I'm really excited to sort of dive into that vibe more. But you can expect it's going to be a club album. I'm not there's going to be songs, and there's going to be harder club songs, but I think it's going to be a clubby album, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
Do we get the album?
It'll probably be maybe the end of 2025 or early 2026. It just depends on how quickly I can get music done. Because like I said, first of all, I'm not rushing this album.
Don't.
Right.
I'm like going to make sure that I'm happy with it before I release it. But hopefully I can get some stuff, hopefully the end of 2025.
Is there like a minimum number of tracks that you have to put on an album? Like what criteria do you have to follow to like
Or
make
is it
an
just
album?
all your own, you take control.
You're like, it could be
Yeah.
3 songs, 5 songs, 10 songs.
Yeah, I think like albums, you see albums that are like 7 tracks long. You see albums that are like 20 tracks long.
Yeah.
I think mine will probably land somewhere around 10 to 12
Oh, wow.
tracks.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
and
I
do
mean,
you
I think
have-
to tell a proper story, you have to have a bit more than 7 songs, but any like 15 or more to me just feels like too
Yeah.
long.
Do you have any like finished that you know are going to be on the album?
No.
Yeah.
No, so basically how it works is like you get your album demos ready, you send them to the label. We have one label in mind that I would really like to sign my album to. We've been like in communication with them. They know that I'm working on these demo tracks to get to them. Once they sign on to the album, then like they kind of get involved and sort of like get you more vocal sessions, get you like co-producers on the album. There's this guy Joseph Ashworth who's a producer, who's an incredible producer. He helps people with albums. I would really love to work with him on my album because he just has like, he's just a very valuable like co-producer to have,
Right.
to help you tell that story. So they sort of get involved and help you get things done, basically. So the demos that you finish and send to them might not even end up on the album. It's just to give them a feel of what you want the album to be. So we'll see. There's some songs that I think are really promising that I'd like to have on the album, but if they're not, I'll just release them as singles somewhere else.
So do you have any studio rituals, like when you're going to go in and sit down and get into Ableton? Like, what does your day look like?
Light some Palo Santo.
Yeah, like tell us the details.
I do have a really lovely candle in the studio. Honestly, like it's just first of all, for me, if I don't get into the studio early in the day, it's game over. Like the way my mind works, all of my music work has to happen like right when I wake up, have a coffee, start listening to music while my brain is fresh.
Yeah,
Whether
like a
it's
work day.
Yeah,
That's when you're doing your best work.
because if I'm like busy running around, whatever, and then I try and start working on music at like 5 p.m., my brain's just not vibing.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
time for soup and
it literally
couch.
it's soup and cat time.
Soup time.
Yeah, so I just try and get to the studio or start working at home as early as possible. And every time I go to the studio, I try to make a little like reference folder of tracks that I really love that have elements that I really like in them, so that I go into the studio with an idea of like, okay, this song has this type of lead that I really fuck with. I'm going to try and make leads sort of similar to that and then build a track off of that. So I always try and like have reference tracks when I'm going into the studio.
Sweet. That's fun. I want to talk about your new kind of rebrand in a way, right? You started Dirty Disco, and now you have, let's clear up how we pronounce it. Is it Kosamia, Kosamea, Kasamea?
It is Kosamia, but I kind of like love that everyone says it so differently.
I've heard so many
It's so
versions.
funny. Every time I had a interview with DJ Mag the other day, and she pronounced it. I can't even remember how she pronounced it. It was such a crazy
Costco bologna.
Yeah,
Like
Costco,
Casamia?
Costco bologna. That's it, actually.
Boom, boom.
But like, no one knows how to say it, and I kind of like everyone just saying it however they want.
Because it's a word you
It's
invented,
just a completely
right?
made up word. Yeah. Like,
What does it mean to you?
Okay, so Kosamia is a word that I made up based off of the Italian word cosmos.
You should know
which
that.
is, yeah, Bella.
I don't
you
speak
should know
Italian.
that.
My last name may be Gambino, but
Or
I don't
I'm
speak
sorry,
Italian.
the Italian word is cosima for cosmos.
Okay.
So I wanted it because Azzecca is also an Italian word. I'm Italian. Like I wanted it to be this celestial thing that also has like some sort of Italian vibe to it. So I took the word cosima and just turned it into Kosamia.
I love that.
So it's just like I'm really into fresh sounding music that has this like otherworldly feel to it, and it can range from techno to house to minimal. There's just a vibe that some songs have that I want to like push forward. So that's what Kosamia is. It's just like my new party where I explore those sounds.
Yeah.
What
Well-
made you get away from Dirty Disco into Kosamia?
So Dirty Disco, basically, first of all, I had started to feel like there was a little bit of a sonic disconnect between my Azzecca project and Dirty Disco. Like, Dirty Disco was cool for what it was in Chicago, but I don't really play disco. Like, I'll play, it's not like my brand to play disco. And I think a lot of people started to feel like Dirty Disco was going to be disco music instead of taking it literally as like the discotheque that's dirty. You know what I mean? So people were a bit confused, and I was starting to feel that. But then also there's this like collective in Texas that reached out to me that was like, hey, we have been using this Dirty Disco name even though I own the trademark. They're like, we have a Dirty Disco party here, we have a label here, like, can you just give this name back to us? And I was just like, you know what, sure, just take it back. Like,
but also, could you not have coexisted because you're not even in the same city?
Yeah, I don't really know why they were. Well, the thing is, they at one point owned the trademark for it, and then they let the trademark expire, so I bought the trademark for it. U.S. trademark law states that if someone owns a trademark and lets it expire but continues to operate under that trademark, they can reclaim it.
Fucking
so
laws.
basically, these people like threatened my lawyer. They went directly to my lawyer and not to me. Which, if they had just come to me, I would have just been like, totes, take it. I don't care. You know what I mean? But
it's all yours.
They went to my lawyer, and it became a thing, and so they wanted the trademark back was the thing, and I was totally happy to just give it to them. So it went away, and it was an opportunity for me to create something that felt sort of more in line with like my Azzecca brand, the music I like, whatever. And then so I made Kosamia.
Well, you sort of mentioned it, right? Like, Kosamia is a journey of sonic and otherworldly sounds, and I feel like your vibe is so infused with aliens and extraterrestrials and cosmic fucking goodies. I have a serious question.
Do you believe?
Do you believe?
Do you believe in aliens?
100%.
If you don't, like, get the fuck out of here.
I know. I literally can't.
Wait, it's not even a matter of believing anymore. It's like,
I'm pretty sure. Like, are they here right now or not? Like, whenever I talk to someone that's like, you really believe in aliens? I'm like,
do you not read the
like
documents from the CIA?
Also, like, how boring of a person are you to just completely like say like there's no way aliens exist?
There's no
it's
way
very
aliens
egocentric.
Exist,
it's
but
like I can be the only
like
smart thing on the planet.
Yeah.
in the
I feel
world.
like the people who don't believe in aliens are those that think there's like a massive, big, bearded God in the sky, like floating over.
They're like
everybody.
missionary only people.
Yeah, missionary only.
You
Bible.
know what I mean? Like
Bible.
Get a sense of wonder.
Get
like,
some doggy style in your life. Like, fuck around and find out, bitches.
Just like, I want to believe that there are aliens.
100%.
I think the world is better if you believe there are aliens.
Unless they want to fucking murder us.
But they
no,
don't.
the thing is, there are
Yeah.
aliens. There are.
I actually read a theory recently that said that aliens are actually like a future version of us from a parallel universe, and that the reason why they're coming back is because that they're like basically our survival as a species guarantees their survival because they're us from the future. And so they're coming back to check on us to make sure we're not fucking shit up.
We're fucking a lot of shit up.
Fucking shit
you
up.
know, you're just talking about the movie Interstellar. That's the whole thing.
Is it?
That's the whole plot of Interstellar.
I've seen that movie, but why?
That's the plot.
Oh, okay.
You're like, I watched Interstellar the other day.
Okay, wait. Do you believe in the moon landing?
Yes.
You do?
I think I do.
Door.
Okay, I think I do. Like, okay, Kai,
I don't.
Kai and I have talked about this so much, and like we'll sit there and literally have like a 20-minute conversation about whether or not we think we went to the moon. And then we'll be like, well, why haven't we gone back? If we really went, like, why? But and like we really go back and forth on it. I think he feels more strongly that we maybe haven't gone to the moon. I feel like we have, but maybe we haven't. The thing is, I don't.
We're going back.
I'm
going
the
back soon,
biggest,
We have plans to go back.
strongest.
Yeah, so we want to build a base on the moon.
You personally.
No.
Ross and I are heading to the moon.
The human race are going back to the moon because we need to build a base on the moon, because when we launch and go to Mars, you need extra propulsion or something, and it's
really?
easier to launch from the moon.
I didn't know
with,
that.
I
with
think this
lower
is the
gravity.
first time that we're ever going.
I mean, you know what? It very well could be. Like, I don't know, but there was like the whole space race between us and Russia. So it's
That's
like,
exactly-
did Russia go to the moon?
That's
and we
the motive,
didn't?
though. That
Wait.
was exactly the motive.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're figuring out the crime,
we
it's like, where's the
lied.
motive? The motive was that we needed to gain the advantage over
Russia.
the
Yes.
Soviet Union. Like, that is so. I Don't even get me
I've
started.
literally never
I'm the
even thought of
biggest
it. So we
proponent of this.
made this whole fake thing to basically to show the
You've
Soviet
That
seen
Union.
we
the
had
video
better
of the
technology.
fucking moon man. He's like
One small
He
step
literally-
for man.
He's literally
He's
bouncing
literally
around
on ketamine and moon
It's
boots.
so
He's like,
crazy.
The moon is crazy.
He's not for real.
Okay, well, maybe we haven't gone to the moon. The thing is, I feel like most things like this in life, I don't have like a, I don't think I know everything.
No,
And
right.
some people think they fucking know,
I know.
everything.
Hate
And
that.
Let's
those are the most
actually
annoying
talk about
people.
this. Let's talk about this because you have really amassed a big Twitter presence, and I think you've struggled along the way with like a lot of the internet's opinions and just like haters and their very strong takes on things, which you also present a very strong take on things, and I think that is either really well received or it's
Mostly not.
Yeah, so you've been on Twitter, you're off Twitter, now you're back. Like, what's your
Yeah,
relationship
I logged
with Twitter?
into Twitter from the web today. It's not back. It's not back on my phone.
I
yet,
thought you
but
deleted it.
She's
no,
been
I did
tweeting.
delete it, but I logged. I like literally went on Safari just to talk about that stupid vape today. But
Oh, the class
the
was
Clase Azul vape. Okay, yeah, Twitter. I think that okay, so I've been on Twitter for a very long time. I've been on Twitter since I was in college.
Yeah.
Like I've been on like OG Twitter, and the way I tweet is the way I've been tweeting since I was 18 years old. Just bullshit. Like literally
cuff.
whatever comes to my head. And back then it was like 3 people followed me.
Yeah.
And it was just like literally like I have no one to talk to, so I'm going to put this here.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like a random thought. Nothing really I put on Twitter do I put like such extensive thought into it, and like it's never been a problem until now. Obviously I have this like bigger following and people know who I am, and I think I have to be more conscious of the fact that like my thoughts that literally aren't about one particular person, aren't a dig at anyone in general, like my general takes can be perceived as being about someone in particular or something in particular or whatever, or like my opinion that's not meant to be negative can be taken in a negative way, and some people get really, really pissed off. And there are definitely times where I'm just like, can everyone chill the fuck out?
Yeah.
Like, can we? The thing is, I remember a time where you could kind of talk a little bit of shit to your friends.
Yeah.
Or to people you know online. You could make fun of something in a not
We're literally in the pussy times right now.
We're in the
Like,
pussy times. Like, you can say something, like, we used to be able to
used
be
to
like,
be cool.
haha, you played a stupid song. And it wasn't like
now everyone
the
is
worst
like
thing in the
a
world.
warrior.
Yeah, but now you could be like, I don't really like when people wear blue shirts, and people will be like, fuck you, blues.
Dom
like,
Dollar wore a
you-
blue
you-
shirt.
literally.
Ellie hates Dom Dollar.
Exactly. Like I could tweet like, I don't trust people who chew spearmint gum, and someone will be like, Azzecca hates me. Azzecca's the worst person in the world because I say funny things that aren't that serious.
That's my favorite thing about you is like how outspoken you are. And I think that it does kind of sometimes not hit the right way.
No,
for
I
some
definitely
people.
cross the line. The thing is, I cross the line mildly sometimes, and even in person. Like, you know, I'm not a mean person. I'm actually like really not a
You
mean.
are not at all.
I'm
Confirmed. Thought you were mean at first. Not mean.
This is a common experience, but it's so opposite of true.
I'm not mean. I
You're one of the
actually
nicest
like
people, actually.
have
that I know.
so much empathy and like
Yeah.
understanding, and I would never want to make someone feel bad or hurt someone or like make a personal attack on another person. But sometimes my like thoughts I don't realize can, like, you know how people take offense to things because of whatever's they're internalizing things. You know what I mean? I don't think about the way my words can affect people
Right.
in that way. And that's something that I, like, as an artist now and someone who has a bigger following, I do have to be a little bit more careful. And I will 100% admit that sometimes, like, I do things without thinking them through, say things without thinking them through. But I would say most times people just need to chill out a little.
Have you ever had like your manager or team reach out and be like, Allie, that one crossed the line?
No,
like,
because I genuinely do not think I have ever
Well, you're your own person.
crossed a line. Like,
Yeah.
You can
like
say
I
what you
cannot
want.
think of one thing I've ever said that was like a direct
No.
dig at any one person or any like
Yeah.
thing.
But let
Yeah.
me ask you this. Do you ever know something's gonna stir the pot a little bit, and you're like, send.
I think it's fun to stir the pot like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, it used to be fun to stir the pot a little bit. It used to be fun to like hot take. You know what I mean? Like, oh, everyone loves this, but I actually don't like that. You know, like these little like fun hot takes. Like it used to be much
I also
easier
feel
to
like
have them.
in a way your Twitter, well, no, in many ways your Twitter is like a marketing tool for you. Like there are people that know you not as Azzecca the DJ, but like as Azzecca like the Twitter warrior.
People
it's
come
crazy
up to me all the time and say like, I follow you on Twitter, and I'm like, that's insane.
You're like,
to
what
me.
about the
It is.
music?
Yeah.
They're like, no, I don't care.
I follow you on Twitter. I love you on Twitter. And the thing is, for me, it's all love.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally all love. If someone reached out to me and was like, hey, you said something that hurt me, I would be like, you know what? I am so sorry that hurt you. I would try and explain, explain myself in a way to be like, I would never want to make you feel bad, and I'm really sorry if I did or said something to make any one person feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I never want to make anyone feel bad. I just want to be a little bit funny and a little bit spicy.
And you are.
And also like you have been on the receiving end of like online hate, and you don't want to ever make anyone else feel that way. Like just generally speaking about how that can be online, like you did get to a point where you're like, you know what, I got to get off of this app. Like what brought you to that point?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I knew the minute I started doing music that there were going to be people that were shitty about the fact that I married to Kai. Obviously, that was a hesitation that I had in the beginning about ever releasing music or anything, because I was like, I just don't know if I want to subject myself to all of this shit. And then I did it, and it's been happening. I mean, it actually doesn't happen as much anymore, but it still does. Like people, and here's the thing: people like say like, oh, you like she says this shit on Twitter or whatever, but it's like the things that people actually say to me on the internet are like cross the line to such an extent where it's like who actually raised you?
Yeah.
Like,
do you think it's because you're a woman?
It's because I'm a woman. It's because I'm married to an artist. It's because I'm an outspoken woman.
Right. Which is just a combination of things people fucking hate.
I'm not just like, you know, I don't just like smile and nod. Like I have opinions. I express opinions. I'm also doing something that a lot of people want to be doing.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? I'm privileged in a lot of ways that I will never deny. And for some reason that makes people want to be horrible. And maybe because of how outspoken I am, people have this idea that I like don't have such a thick skin that like who the fuck cares, I'm just gonna like say this horrible thing to her. But like it's still terrible. Like it is some of the things that people have said to me, like I'll read, and most of it I'll just read and be like, okay, whatever. But some
has anything
things,
got under your skin?
Oh
like,
yeah,
big time?
there have definitely, and it also depends on like sometimes I'm just having a bad day,
Right.
and then
And
someone
that's just,
says
like, an
something and
added
I'm
little
just like,
dig.
and and like there have been times where I like, you know, get really a little bit like quite upset about some things that I see, and I have to like, you know, I talk to Kai about it, and he's really good about just like putting things into perspective for me. But like, yeah, I've like turned down gigs, I've turned down bookings because I know that people are gonna say things like about these bookings that I get because I have friends on the lineup or like whatever. Like and my manager's like, you have to stop letting any of this like dictate your career. But yeah, it sucks. People are mean. People can be terrible.
And this is just a message to like anyone listening, like just fucking be nicer online. Just be nicer online.
Yeah.
You don't need to tear people down if you
literally
disagree with them.
Fuck them, because Allie, we've had a front row seat to like most of your career, and like you started from the bottom, now you're here, but like to actually watch, it's been insane, and it's been so quick, like how far you've come, the tracks you're releasing, the lineups you're getting on. It's so fucking cool. So shout out you. Like,
and without a
Thank
doubt,
you.
you are very talented and you have impeccable taste in
Thank
all
you.
aspects
Yeah.
of your life.
yeah.
Especially friendships.
Yeah. We're rapidly approaching the end of 2024, right?
Yeah.
We're entering 2025. What are your big goals? What are your aspirations? Do you have any New Year's resolutions for next year?
Yeah, big goals. I don't want to get stuck as being just an American artist.
Yeah.
I want to break into Europe. I want to break into South America.
And that's been hard for you?
It's a challenge as an American artist. You know, like there is so much homegrown talent in Europe, in the UK. And to be an American artist to gain the respect and bookings in Europe is a challenge, especially because I exist in more of a commercial lane in the US, even though my taste in music is not very commercial.
Yeah.
So it's cool because I get to play on commercial lineups and sort of weave in music that like people maybe have never heard before and sort of like broaden people's horizons here in America. But when I've had the opportunity to play in Europe, I can really actually like dive into the music that I really love.
Shit.
Yeah. And so that is my goal for next year, is to start DJing outside of the US more.
That's so interesting. I was listening to the Will Clark podcast the other day, and he said the exact same thing, but opposite, vice versa. He said it was hard for him to break into the American
he's
scene.
from the UK.
He's from the
From the UK.
Maybe the same.
Well, the crazy thing is, it seems like these days, like UK talent gets so like when you look at all of the, especially like the UKG sound right now, like America is all of a sudden just like UKG obsessed.
Rory.
And so yeah, Rorden, Sammy Vergy, like America is just like grabbing these British people and just like throwing them on lineups, like really high billing on lineups and stuff. And it's like, I feel like Americans are more keen to take talent. I feel like America looks to Europe and the UK for talent more than the UK and Europe looks to America.
Right, it's like in
for
American,
talent.
you're like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
They're from the UK.
Yeah.
But in the UK, they're like, this is an American.
Yeah, like,
So it's
I
like
mean,
a
it's
different
just sort
vibe.
of like the mindset in general. People think Americans suck. I've learned this from Kai, because Kai, like, obviously he's been doing this for a very, very long time, and they've had like huge peaks and valleys. Like they're just like they're like one act that didn't blow up too fast. They
Right.
never had their like pop off moment. They've just been consistently
Super consistent.
big for a very long time.
What, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah.
Fucking
And
crazy.
so like he said, in the UK they'll have like times where like the UK will be like obsessed with them, like huge, selling out the biggest venues in the UK, and then all of a sudden something will switch and it'll be like fuck Gorgon City, and then they fall off.
So weird.
And then all of a sudden they're back again. And it's sort of like the UK, I think, is very like they all jump on the hype train and then they all get off of it very quick. And like some, like even I've even been seeing posts recently of people like, you know, like the whole Pasa phenomenon. Like everyone's obsessed with Pasa. And then all of a sudden now all I'm seeing is everyone shitting on Pasa. And I'm like, how do you guys change your mind about an artist this quickly?
It's
What are they
so
shitting on about?
crazy.
Just
You
know,
see the
saying
same
they
thing
don't-
with Clooney.
You say same thing with Clooney.
He
It's
was on
like-
top of the world every
And then-
second I see. Fuck Clooney, he sucks. Boring
yeah,
sets,
and
snoozers.
it's so ridiculous.
I
and
do think that there's just this element of like, if
Everyone
everyone
wants-
likes something, it's not cool
exactly
anymore.
everyone. That's why I'm like, please do not ever all jump on board for me like
Yeah.
this. Do not
Slow and
ever
steady.
become fucking obsessed with me, because if you all start freaking out about me online, it's just a matter of time before you all start talking about how much I fucking suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it happens with everyone, and I don't think these people realize how much of a like predictable cliche they are. Like everyone thinks they have the best taste in music. They're ahead of the curve.
Right.
Like they know what's good. But they're all just jumping on the same
Right.
shit.
That
You're
is
on
something
the
we made
bandwagon.
very clear when we made this podcast, that we don't claim to have a good taste in music. We don't even claim to know
First of
fucking
all,
any
music
genre.
is subjective.
It's so
Like,
subjective, and
number
it's like
one thing to keep in
time and
mind.
setting, and something will hit at the beach that may not hit in the club. And
Exactly.
like fucking music is music.
And it's like, I think in general, everyone needs to, first of all, chill out and stop trying to be better than everyone around them. Stop trying to act like you have the best taste in music and what you like is what everyone else should like. Like, how about you just shut up
Yeah.
and listen to the music you like, support the artists you like, and let other people like what they like.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're just being miserable. Like, no, like, oh, do you feel cool because you talked about how much Clooney sucks online? Like,
Right.
Clooney doesn't care. He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Right.
You know what
Literally.
I mean? Like,
Literally.
it's just like...
you call it Stephanie. I call it that song.
Honestly,
is,
I don't care what anyone says. That song's gonna
That
fucking
song's gonna be
bang
gonna
one
when
of
pop.
the biggest songs.
It was
Yeah.
played every single
At
set at
EDC.
EDC, like
Yeah.
Everywhere.
back to back to back.
Fisher,
Everyone's ripping
Rorden,
it. Like
everybody dropped
sick. The sickest
Sick.
track though, and also John Summit's. I don't know if it's his track or Chase West, but yesterday that Grills edit, I haven't heard that
I
yet.
know, you lost your mind.
No,
you
that is like
literally
my favorite.
lost your mind.
I promise you, if I'm ever held
that
at
the one
gunpoint and
with
they're like,
Chase-
sing
Chase
every
West
word to
you brought
one
up?
song,
Yeah. Did
it's
you
Grills.
see Bella literally creaming behind us? Like,
Barbecue day.
I'm not
barbecue day.
kidding. Grills is like my number one. When I was like in maybe 7th grade, I wrote my own rap to Grills about braces because I had braces. don't get me started on
She's
that.
like,
But it's just, it's
I need to actually.
It's always been my favorite
weren't
song.
you in LA freestyling into your phones?
Yes.
oh, we have the
during-
video.
Crazy
during
videos.
that song.
Crazy videos.
I need to see those tonight. I actually need.
You're
I
gonna
can't-
die.
at
Oh wait,
point- at
one of the
point you-
lines was, what is it? You know it.
Something like,
I got that
I'm
bad
in that
pussy. No.
Call it Lion
I got
King.
that bad pussy. Call me Lion King. We're like, yo, that was
That was a
actually a
bar.
bar.
And I actually didn't even think about it until after. I'm like, wait, double entendre, bar.
bar. At one point, you turned to me with your phone and you go, "Let's get a verse," and I was like, "Get away
you're
from
like,
me."
get the fuck out of here right now, Bella. That's, if there's one thing you can guarantee Allie and I will do at the function
Freestyle.
is freestyle.
Literally.
Okay,
They're
so
outrageous.
before we wrap it up,
Cool.
we want to do our explain this segment. So we're going to just
Okay.
show you a picture and please explain this to us, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Picture will be flashed on the pod.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Who is that man with a penis on his nose?
Like literally what the fuck is
Oh
going
my
on
God,
with
I'm
this?
actually so glad you found this photo because I've actually been trying to find this photo.
The surprise
Dude.
Azzecca
It's
B2B
Such a funny
ankle
picture.
pants.
It's like you look so weird.
Okay. To be fair. Witnessing ankle pants is a thing.
Doesn't he play his penis nose?
Okay, so I actually learned, so obviously, okay, I played after him at Seismic, and we had to like change over the decks because obviously he does whatever he does, and I play on
He
CDJs.
got like dildos
Yeah,
left and
what
right.
What does he do?
Okay, so the sight of him is crazy, and like I think the photo is of me just sort of looking at him like, what's going on
Literally.
here? But I learned later that, so I think this guy Ankle Pants actually like writes scores for films,
Wow.
and he's like a prolific sound and costume engineer.
Wow. So is that a prosthetic or is that a mask?
So not only is it like, I think it's a mask, but it is an instrument.
Yeah.
Everything that he wears is an instrument. His feet are instruments. His dick on his face that
His
that
snuffleupagus.
ejaculates.
No, it
You're
doesn't.
lying.
No, it does
It
not.
ejaculates.
Is that part of the musical
Yes.
instrument?
Yes.
He's like,
He's like, let me hit that
Now-
C sharp.
for the chorus.
it ejaculates. I'm not
What, all
fucking
over the
kidding you.
fucking
like
deck?
it just like
And
squirts
then
out.
you
a
have to
little-
hop on next. You're like, why is there jizz on my fucking decks?
Exactly. No, but it like he plays like I don't really know how it all works, but someone there actually, I think it might have even been like the stage manager or the person I was standing next to while I was waiting for the trade-off, kind of looking at him like, what the fuck is going on here? He sort of explained to me how his whole thing works, and it's actually so impressive what it is. I mean, I don't really know what the fuck it is in general. Like it's the music he plays is crazy. The whole dick thing is crazy. It's all crazy, but it's creativity in a way that like I literally can't help but respect. It's insane.
Did you stay and watch any of his set?
No, I played after
Oh,
him.
okay.
I actually did. I met up with a friend. I got there like an hour before. I met up with a friend. We went into the crowd and watched it just because like watching him do it is like a spectacle.
Literally
He's
do it.
literally like the way he like moves his foot dictates something. Like his whole foot's an instrument and the dick is an instrument and it's got like
Dictates.
something like he's his whole thing is an instrument, and it is really impressive. But
So he gained a new fan in you.
I mean, you know what? Team Ankle Pants.
Team ankle pants.
I mean, to go out in front of people with a huge fucking dick on your face and perform is impressive, and like he's getting his like creative thing going, and he's
Yeah.
getting booked for it. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
sick.
I love that. Well, on that note, we're all Team Ankle Pants here.
Yeah, Team Ankle Pants.
More
this was so
importantly,
fun.
we're Team Azzecca.
We're Team
Aw.
Azzecca
And, like,
through and
guys.
through.
Through and through, you're on a fucking rocket ship to the top.
Yeah.
We cannot wait. We can't wait for the album. We
But
can't
hopefully
wait
not
to
too fast.
make.
Please, not too fast. Slow and steady.
We can't wait and make it to another Costa Mia event and just fucking be there for you and support you. And thank you
Aw,
for
thanks,
making it here.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And to the listeners, thank you for listening to this.
Yeah.
The support really means the world. It's just been crazy. Like over the past few weeks, what's been happening, top 15% of
Of
video podcasts on Spotify.
That's
Which is
insane.
crazy.
That's
Like,
insane.
we're just little
You're
just
popping
little
off.
tiny things, but it's like Thank you so much for listening. Share it with your friends.
Please.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, and do all the fun stuff.
And what do you want to plug? Do you have anything you want to
Yeah,
plug?
what's
coming
next
up?
for you,
Any
Allie?
dates?
Dates. I'm taking some time off touring. I have some huge festivals booked for next year. I think we just announced Lightning in a Bottle, which I'm super excited about. It's a Doolabs festival. I have some songs coming out. I have a remix for Confidence Man coming out. I have a single coming out in February. Single coming out in February. Single coming out in March. A bunch of music lined up, but yeah, pretty much just working on an album.
And the
Hell
single
yeah.
you released, or you're releasing in February, you played that last night?
I
That
did.
one? I
That was
can't fucking
that was
wait.
my first time playing it out. It's sort of my take
Fire.
on a piano house track.
Fire.
Ooh.
It's really fun. Yeah, it'll be out on 360 in February.
Fun.
Cool. Well, guess what? Ooski out!
Booski booski.
Ooski
fucking booski.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.